Hey everyone, Cap here. Welcome to the channel. It's time for the April 2025 Model Railroad update. We'll go down in the basement in a minute. I have an embarrassing confession to make. You know when you've got a project that you're working on and you just have a vague, nagging thing in the back of your head telling you you've forgotten something important? Yeah. I was at the point where I was about ready to install the bridges that we've been working on for, a long time. And I realized that I don't have any of the scenery in that area complete. You probably ought to have the scenery if you've got, well, let me restate that. If you've got bridges in the middle and foreground of a scene, you probably ought to have the scenery to a reasonable degree of completion, at least in the immediate area underneath those bridges, so that you don't, smash them with your lunch hooks trying to put other stuff in. So I've gone into my library and pulled out an old Kallenbach book, and we're gonna start going through here this evening, and I'm gonna come up with a way to do the water in the stream underneath the bridges. I've never worked with foam before. I'm finding it a little bit of a difficulty. I'll figure it out. I do have a bucket of, words are hard as always, pre-mixed drywall mud. I've always had good luck with that for covering things like plaster gauze or pieces of ceiling tile. So I'll get into that, and hopefully next month I'll have those stupid bridges installed. But meanwhile, there has been some progress downstairs, truthfully hindered by the fact that, the weather made my knees hurt, and I just did not want to deal with the basement stairs. So anyhow, let's shut the light off and the camera, and we'll head down to the basement and take a look at what I did get done. All right, everybody, here we are at the Apple Growers Association, where I ballasted the industry track and the side tracks here where we can park a locomotive, the number 6 turnout, and this running track that the switch crew would use to stay off the main line. And as you can see, I'll move this cut of cars aside. That just doing that makes the entire area look a lot better. One of the things that we have to do as we add bits and pieces of plywood is ensure that we don't have gaps for scenery materials to fall through. And the way we do that is using tubes of construction adhesive. I always like, when I used construction adhesive, to use latex construction adhesive from DAP. It doesn't stink. And of course, the other thing is if the construction adhesive comes into contact with foam, latex doesn't melt or otherwise eat the foam away. I do over here have to add some sort of a bumper. Probably will end up just being something like a pile of ballast. That doesn't seem to be inappropriate for this kind of situation. Let's move farther to our east here in town and take a look at the materials that I've been using. All right, so the ballast here that I've been using is Woodland Scenics on non-mainline tracks. One of the things I like to do is use finer ballast. It seems a bit more appropriate, and at least in my mind, the finer ballast and the lower elevation of the track gives a good visual cue that we're not on a main track. I'm using Woodland Scenics cement, which I have never had good luck with thinned white glue. I know a lot of guys use that and they use it successfully, and they use the water with dish detergent as a wetting agent. I have not had good luck with that at all. So what I'm using is 70% isopropyl alcohol. I apply them with these pipettes. These pipettes are from Fuller, and I am not, to be quite frank, very happy with them. I previously used a different pipette. Here, let's put them next to each other. A different pipette. You can see the one on the left. And yeah, the one from Fuller, not very big and not as durable as this other one that I think I was getting also from the Walthers catalog. I thought I could find these larger ones at the local hardware store, the one with the helpful hardware man. They weren't very helpful. They don't have them, at least not my local one. So let's continue moving eastward down the track, and I'll briefly show you how I apply the ballast and the cement. All right, first thing I do, I get my brush. I do use a paintbrush for this. Any old brush will do as far as I'm concerned, as long as the bristles aren't too hard. It's a fairly soft bristle brush. It does, and as far as I'm concerned, brushes are disposable. I use the small holes here, and I just go ahead and pour a little bit out. There we go. Oh, that's a little much, but that's okay. We're going to have to arrange that. So I'm going to turn the brush, and I'm using a rectangular brush. I turn it away from the railhead, and I just kind of run it along there. And I spread the little, well, I've heard that the Walthers ballast is actually not stone. It's allegedly crushed walnut shell. I don't know if that's true. I can't verify that. But we'll just kind of move it around here gently with the brush. It's your railroad. If you like the way it looks, well, guess what? You did it right. That's as Bob Ross as I'm going to get on you. I will pat it down with my fingers, kind of like that. Now, I always ensure that I'm using separate pipettes for the alcohol and for the ballast. And there goes my complaint. That pipette is toast already. The seams on the bulb split, which shouldn't be a surprise. We'll get a different one here. And we'll just go ahead and drizzle this on here without disturbing it. It appears to be, the ballast appears to be thoroughly wet at this point. Using the alcohol as a wetting agent breaks the surface tension of the cement and helps it flow down into the ballast better. And again, close down on top of the ballast, we'll just go ahead and drizzle this in here gently. And if we have to go back through and fix a bubble because we didn't get enough alcohol in there, it's fairly easy to do. It does go on white, which looks a little distressing the first time you use it, but I've never had a problem with this stuff. And unlike with white glue, the ballast ends up being nice and solid, whereas with white glue I've always just ended up with a crust of ballast that looked secure, but as soon as you touch it, oh, it's loose already. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other areas that I've ballasted. One fairly good size and the other one not so big, but you'll see why the small one had to be done. Okay, this area in the industrial area in Lower Town is the other fairly large area that's been ballasted. And again, you can go ahead and tap this stuff after it's been thoroughly soaked with the scenic cement, and it stays in place. As you can see, I did get a bubble here where I didn't get enough alcohol, but it's going to be no problem to go back and touch that up. Let's take a look at the small area that I've got done, and you'll see immediately why it had to be done. Okay, this is the final area that I ballasted, and as you can see, once this bridge is in place permanently, there would be no way to get under there and smooth the ballast out. Now you'll see also that it stops abruptly, and we'll move the light a little bit and the camera, and you can see why. There's a gap here, and as I bring my flashlight under here, you can see how deep the gap is and how wide it is. So what am I going to do with that? Well, like I said, silicone caulk. DAP is what I usually use. It doesn't smell. At least I can't smell it. And again, I use this latex caulk, and it doesn't melt foam. It keeps things where it belongs, where I decide they belong, and it just seems to work nicely. Now as we come up here, we follow the bridge around, or at least what's going to end up being a fill, and that's as far as we're going to go for this month. Alright guys, that's about it for this month's Model Railroad update. It's April. Next month, I think we're going to start doing a little freight car weathering. I am tired of trying to put this project on camera, and quite frankly, as the weather finally begins to get nice here where I live, I'm not going to want to spend that much time in the basement. So next month I'm going to show you how I weather freight car trucks and the wheels. It's one way to do it. Like I said when we were doing a ballast, if you like the way it looks on your railroad, then hey, you did it right. Anyhow, thanks for watching. New videos every Wednesday, or Mondays and Fridays as weird stuff pops into my otherwise empty head. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.